go on to topic number 2, which is interesting. It's going to be right up in the same alley because we're in an era where there's so many social media debates every week, and you'll hear women, really being progressive in this era, women empowerment, women supporting women. And then you have an attack on men that I feel maybe it's media based, but it's circulated a lot. And the word that they're using is a term called toxic masculinity. And you oftentimes hear a woman say to a guy, or apply in a situation where a guy being too aggressive, or a guy that's being stern and doing stuff that we attribute to testosterone, or just being a type A man, is now labeled as toxic masculinity. They different people have different definitions for it. I had a lot of people that replied to our post on the Black Super Friends and was saying absolutely black men are acting too macho and they show off, and it was a lot of stuff that they said. But women believe that toxic masculinity is a real thing. So I'm asking you guys, do you believe that toxic masculinity is a real thing? And if it is, what is your definition of toxic masculinity? I'm going to Mario first.
All right, so this is an interesting subject because we most of the time that word get thrown around is coming from a woman. So that's just amazing because I agree with most of the guys on this show, and I think I can speak for us by saying I do my best in my life, even though I have a daughter, not to tell a woman how to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to be a woman. I've never been a woman. I have no desire to be a woman. So I go by my day trying to talk to my fellows on how to be a better man. If I see a young man, I try to tell him how to be a better man, or give thoughts along the way on how to be a better man. I might even ask him how to be a better married man. I inquire about men things because I'm a man. So it's kind of ironic that women are the authors of such a word and the creator of something that's pertaining 100% to men. So I couldn't even explain the word, but one thing I did look up toxic femininity, and it doesn't exist. So let me get this straight. The creators of toxic masculinity don't believe in such a thing as toxic femininity. I don't know about this subject right here. Zay, what do you feel? I just want to throw those facts out there that it's not a yin to the yang.
Right. Let's see what Tudor got to say. I want to see what Horace got to say on this.
Well, I actually about the term because oftentimes in this whole empowerment era, that's the first thing that I've seen when I'm in a group, even if it's on a business level or in a social capacity. When a guy is in a room with different women, they are shooting it out. Oh my gosh, he has so much toxic masculinity. Oh my God. And I was in a room, I won't call out the sorority, and I said, no, I actually think the problem that we're facing right now is feminism. And then, it was a group that got a little deep. And I was saying, we're in an era where we're not even recognizing the attack on black men, but manhood, period. I said, LeBron's son last week was on IG Live smoking.
We don't know that.
He was allegedly, Xavier.
There you go.
Cannabis advocate. He was smoking a BB, which can be tobacco, right? And they went off on LeBron. Oh, look at he's a father. But D Wade's son has on capris and bodysuits on at the age of 12, and they're applauding this young man. So I'm saying you guys aren't seeing that it's an attack on manhood.
Black manhood.
Go deeper. Men are a pinnacle of society. When I had a conversation with my son's mother, I was saying, hey, I know you love your son. I know you love him. But this is the same man that in the future you're going to be asking to protect you. The same young man that you're going to want to be a good husband to somebody, a good son to you. These are the men, we would go to war. You want a good, solid man. I said in Roman times, especially on the movie 300, even at the age of, I think, 5 or 8, she loved her kid, but she would send her son off to the wilderness because he needed to learn how to be a man. Yeah. So now it's like in this attack, if you teach men how to be men, now you see more articles where you see women saying, oh, it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you, to go out and explore your feelings. It's not, it's okay for you to do X, Y, Z without going into too many circles tonight, right? And I'm saying that's maybe true, but why is it so hard for a man to be a man? What is so wrong with a man being what he was designed to be? So I have a problem with the word feminism. Toxic masculinity, what they described, I was like, you just got alpha males. Some dudes may have a lot of macho-ness. A lot of dudes may have a little more testosterone. But I just battle with the issue of toxic masculinity. Didn't mean to ramble on. I just have not seen it. And I'm looking for that definition, a good example of a definition for me to understand that to say it's valid. All right. So, Chris.
Well, I've said this.
Good.
I said this before. I've said this in another show. I said it on an interview. I don't believe in the word toxic masculinity. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with masculinity. Period. I don't think there's nothing wrong. And by definition, masculinity is only characteristics of a man. That's it. So if you have a root word that has no ill intent, nothing's wrong with it, you can't throw toxic in front of it and make it bad. I give an example. Appreciation. There's nothing wrong with appreciation. So you can't throw toxic in front of it and call it toxic appreciation, and now it's all of a sudden a bad word. But I've had this conversation with women. Women disagree with me, so I talk to them and I ask them to describe it, to define it, describe it to me. What I think that they're describing is misogyny and chauvinism. Those are two different words, and I too can agree that misogyny and chauvinism isn't something that we should be in favor for. And I would love to have a conversation with with women about that, because I do think there's room for improvement in the way that we treat our women. I absolutely do. But I want to have a conversation. I don't want somebody just talking at me. I want to have a conversation. I thought that our only job was to provide and protect for women, not become women. I don't think there's nothing wrong with a man being a man. I think that we should teach men not to harm women, not to physically harm women, not to be abusive to women. But you feeling whatever makes you feel manly, whatever makes you feel masculine, is nothing wrong. Don't break laws. Don't rape. Don't kill. Don't do those things. But you can feel however you want to feel. There's nothing wrong with that. And no one that haven't even had the experience can tell you there's something wrong with you just being manly or masculine. That's all I got, Jose. What you got?
I do feel like it's an attack at toxic masculinity. I actually wanted to ask, who actually came up with it? Was it, toxic masculinity where they were just attacking Black men? Or is that as of late that we're just hearing a lot of women, because we deal with mostly Black women, throwing it out that it's toxic masculinity in the pool of dating, maybe, whatever the case may be. When it comes to masculinity, you do have men that are very, very manly men, who feel certain ways. I don't think that that's something that should be thrown. Like you said, Chris, it should be a conversation. I don't think that women should be talking at men, telling them this toxic masculinity thing. But however, they should be having a conversation with them or letting them know how they feel about a certain situation that they feel that man is being overly manly about. Maybe. What you gonna say, Chris?
What I'm saying is this. I'm speaking specifically as Black men. Right. Okay. As for our masculinity, we have to have power behind our masculinity. Besides physical harm, we don't hire at that rate. We don't choose the pay rate. These are the things that women fight for. That's kind of beyond our control. So if we want to talk about masculinity, let's talk about the people that's in power that show that their masculinity and their beliefs. Because I think it's here. It's not masculinity. It's how you look at women. That's what needs to change. Your mindset towards women. If you think that women is beneath you, that's similar to racism. But right. But racism doesn't matter. Racism doesn't hurt you unless the person that's inflicting it has power. I don't think that us as Black people, as Black men, have enough power to inflict our toxic masculinity or so-called toxic masculinity. So I don't think that fight is on us. Do I believe that we need improvement in the way that we conduct ourselves around our
There you
women?
go.
Yes, absolutely. There's room for improvement on both sides, but I'm only talking about men. Yes, there is room for improvement, but I don't think it should be an attack on masculinity. I don't think
So
there's nothing wrong
right
with it.
back to what I was saying. That conversation needs to be had where if you're dealing with a woman and she feels a certain way, she needs to be able to talk to you, not at you, like you said. There are some. I do feel that there are some toxic traits that men possess as it comes to women, or even as it comes to tutelage, because they're asking, or I think that what they're saying when they're saying toxic masculinity, like it's something that's being pushed down. But however, we're being taught, I guess is the best way that I want to get it out, by guys who really don't know how to be sensitive. So the women that are feeling that they want us to be sensitive at those times are telling us you're doing toxic masculinity. Well, if we've been taught to be rough and tough and to protect and provide all our life, we don't know that sensitive side. You got to have a conversation with that man. Don't just try to call that man and tell him he's toxic, because you're going to lose it. If your goal is to keep him or even be with a man, you got to learn how to communicate with that man and let him know some of these things that maybe that's not in the best interest of you. If you want to have a relationship with a woman, to keep carrying on in that manner, you can be tough. I'll let you take that lead or that manly position of at the head, but I don't like it a certain way. And if that man is fooling with you like that, he gonna curtail some of that activity. But I don't think it's right for you to run around and label it as toxic. That's how I view that.
Yeah.
What you got, Art?
Well, listen. Here go the dangerous part about that. If men were toxic, right? Men that
Mm-hmm.
have kids, what is that toxic man gonna allegedly teach another a child of his own?
The same what that
He's pouring into another child. But my point is with feminism, manhood has to be embraced. It has to be supported. It has to be understood how valuable it is. Simply because, again, if men is the pinnacle of society, especially in the homes and the families and the communities, feminism is gonna have you sitting around with a bunch of confused males, not men, confused males with identity issues.
Yeah.
And now, then you get in the point like, oh well, we went wrong, but the damage has already been done.
Thanks.
So I think a lot of times we have to look at, because again, out of all the men in the world, the focus has always been on black
Like
men.
man.
Black men, because black men are the impact they're gonna have on the black family and the black home, their relation to black women. So that's what we have to understand. It's still a war out here. So
we
I
under
want to
together.
say too, if we using our platform to kind of teach and empower each other, right? Women, take this toxic masculinity thing on a case by case basis with dudes. All right. If you're getting into a relationship with that person, whether it be friend or whether it be for love, and that individual is possessing those characteristics that you call toxic masculinity, how about you talk with that man about that? Talk through it with him, and probably you'll come to understand why he's that way, or he'll probably come to understand why he needs to tone it down just a tad bit in that area and still not lose his masculinity.
Well,
But
we also got to also got to start with the women that's closest to us. I don't want to use the word. I hate to use the word check, but I actually have conversations with my sister a lot, and we have to go back and forth with things like this. So you got to respect the women in your life. You got to respect if you're a father of a daughter. There has to be a line that you don't cross. I mean, you can get close or whatever, but there's a line that you don't want to cross. I just feel like whatever you may be, you get a chance to be. You get the chance to be that way. They think about the guys on Duck Dynasty. They're just that way. That's how they live. That's how they believe. That's what they think. If they're not harming anyone, if they're not causing physical or abusive pain to somebody, if they're not trying to oppress anyone, why is it people can think and feel the way they want to feel, as long as they're non-violent towards you?
And don't use toxic, Monique. Got to find another word. I think that word is too trendy right now, and it does trigger me because it's a negative connotation. So we got to find better ways to talk to each other, converse, like we were saying.
If a woman's gotten to the point where they tell you that you are toxic, it is over. Interesting. Another comment. All this S is propaganda, social media, welfare, all designed to break up the home. It's okay to let a man lead. Submissive and subservient, big difference. Want to go back to a comment from a male, Terrell McCrae. Men are the pinnacle of society with a question mark.
He
We will
checking
get
you
there.
on that one.
And now I stand by that. I challenge him to look up the definition of pinnacle, but
Don't get him started, please.
I do.
Rile
Um,
them up.
yeah, rile him up. Um,